So ZF Friedrichshafen just launched a tech center in India. What are the first results, and might this be the first step of turning India into the market leader of the automotive sector?
So, the software content in the car is going up. As you know, today we have about 100 million lines of code in the car. And as the car moves more and more towards becoming an autonomous vehicle, then there would be 350 million lines of code. So that means we need a lot of software talent for ZF to become an industrial leader in autonomous driving, because that's one of our vision is to become the leader. And so tapping into the Indian market was really essential for us to get access to that software talent, because in India by 2020 there would be roughly 20 million graduates, and 8 million of them are engineers, primarily software engineers. So that's why it was important for us to go there. And today we already have 1,000 engineers that work for us through Tata Consultancy Services and Tech Mahindra. And by 2020, we would like to add 1,500 of our own employees to the existing 1,000, making it 2,500.
So you're speaking about expansion into new markets.
Yes.
So what are the biggest challenges you face regarding the rising competition, and how does ZF Friedrichshafen differentiate from other key leaders?
I think you need to understand that ZF has a great vision. Our vision is to be a leader in autonomous driving, integrated safety, and e-mobility that we call efficiency. And based on the global macro trends, ZF is perfectly positioned to be the leader. And having these three aspects gives us a very comprehensive a vision, and that's what is going to be our differentiator.
So you're also talking about thinking further, of embedding these intelligent systems, but especially in this context, what does intelligent actually mean?
So if you look at the car today relies mostly on the intelligence of the driver. So the driver is looking at things around, and then the driver is making the decisions of whether to brake, whether to steer in a different direction, depending on the conditions around the car. But as we add connectivity to the car, we can get a lot more intelligence from what's happening, not just in the car, with the car in the front, but 10 cars ahead, right? And we know that if there is whiteout conditions and it's snowy and it's slippery conditions, then you could give that information to your GPS so that you navigate the car from still going from point A to B, but in a different route. So that is, connectivity is driving intelligence. But now, as you get more and more intelligence, you cannot rely on just the human brain to process all of this data. Because the data coming at the car is increasing exponentially, from the camera, from the sensors, from radar, from LiDAR, all of the sensory devices, including connectivity, the data is just growing. Yeah, and so with this, you need more of an artificial intelligence capability. And that's why we partnered with NVIDIA, which is a high-tech company, which is known for their graphics processing unit. And together we have launched what is called Pro AI, ZF Pro Artificial Intelligence, to compute all of this data into intelligence, to send those commands or directions to our mechanical components, so that when you know that the car is about to crash, that the emergency brake automatically applies, avoiding the crash. So that is how it's not just about collecting the intelligence, but about making the right decisions, because our vision is zero accidents and zero emissions.
Absolutely. But you don't think that it fosters human laziness, because you're saying that it makes us to be more intelligent than we actually are, right?
I don't think the occupants of the car would be lazy, because now they get back their time. They would be much more productive when they are in the car. And when you look at the accident pattern across the globe, just in the US alone, there are 35,000 accidents. And majority, more than 60% of these accidents are caused by human error. So imagine, with the intelligence that we collect, that we are able to give a human life back to their family. That's much more important for us. And also making sure that the people, that the occupants that are sitting in the car, get back their time so that they can work on other productive stuff, maybe relax, because each one of us is going through such stressful work conditions. So when you get into the car, you may not be mentally prepared to even drive the car. So I think it's going to help us.
I think so too, and it will contribute to a lot of value. But how do you think will the society adapt? Because I'm not sure if the human being is able to completely trust into technology. And reading that in 30 years, the youth will no longer need a driver's license. Is that even possible?
So I think the adoption will be an evolution. It's not going to be a revolution. So it's not going to be a black and white kind of a switch. Like tomorrow, suddenly, the autonomous happens and everyone switches from driving cars to autonomous. So I think it's going to be a gradual. We have been talking about electric cars for how long? For decades. And today, only 3% of our total automotive volume is electric car. So you have to apply the same kind of evolutionary thinking to autonomous driving too. So it's going to be slow. So by 2030, 2035, maybe we'll look at 5% of cars being autonomous. And also you will have, today not everyone is a Mercedes customer. Not everyone is a Chrysler customer. Not everyone is a Jeep customer. So you segment your customers and you try to appeal to that customer segment that matches whatever your brand is offering. So it would be the same thing. In the autonomous car, it's not for everyone. That person that can really trust the technology, that want to sit there and be much more productive, that probably it would appeal to that segment.
That's true, and probably the future youth will mostly be affected by this or have the chance to benefit.
I have a hard time because I have two boys. One is 21 and the other one is 17. The oldest, the 21, built his own car. He bought a very old car and took it all apart and built his car. And he says that he would never, ever get into an autonomous car. And my 17-year-old, because both of them were born in Michigan, probably they have that automotive blood in them, and the parents work for the automotive industry, so they say that they'll never ever get into an autonomous car. So I think even there, there would be some people that will take to it, some people that will say, no, I still want to control myself.